Good morning, scientists, or maybe good afternoon, scientists. Today we're going to be talking about plants and animal cells. We're going to go over some similarities and differences. A lot of these terms you're already going to know and you've experienced, and I apologize if this is redundant or boring you, but these cell structures are really important and they're good to know which ones belong to either plants or animals or both. So we're just going to go through this today. Shouldn't take too long. I know it appears like there's a lot of slides, but again, you've seen most of these terms already and these structures, so we'll be able to go through them quickly, but there is one major difference that we're going to talk about today. So if you want to maybe pull this up as a split screen or just listen to me as I go through this, whatever works for you, just don't forget to then turn in this PowerPoint with the answered questions on Schoology for the day. And yeah, I think we're ready to get started. So the next slide, you don't have to worry about. This is just for an in-person lesson day. So just skip right through this. We're going to just talking about some key terms. That cell wall, we already talked about that. Cell membrane, nucleus, the nucleolus, cytoplasm, mitochondria, vacuole, chloroplasts, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi Complex, and lysosomes. Again, we've already talked about these, but we're just going to go through them quickly. And lastly, one that you haven't experienced yet is something called a centriole. So we'll experience and get to explore what that is later on. So first we're going to talk about plant and animal cell structures. These are structures that are found in both of them. So as you can see, there's a list of the cell membrane, the nucleus, the nucleolus, cytoplasm, mitochondria, vacuole, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, and lysosomes. And they're going to be found, again, in both plants and animals. So we're just going to go through these again quickly. Again, I know we talked about this a lot, but just for review, for your sake. The first one that's found in both plants and animals is going to be the cell membrane. And again, this is used to protect the cell. It's going to give shape to the cell and allows materials to enter in and out. As you can see, there's channels that certain proteins are allowed to enter or exit. That could be chemicals such as such as potassium, salt, and it's going to enter and exit through these pores or channels, openings, I should maybe say, of the cell membrane. Again, found in both plants and animals. The next structure that I'm sure all of you remember is the nucleus. Remember, this is found in eukaryotic cells, which are both plants and animal cells. It acts as the brain of the cell. It's going to control any types of functions that are happening within the cell, and it's going to contain your DNA that gives you your genetic material and allows you to either look the way you do or possibly, creates whether it's going to be a bone cell or a blood cell, etc. And here's just the structure of the nucleus. Remember, you have the nuclear pores are going to be those little dots. And the nuclear envelope or the nuclear membrane is also known as is going to be the little membrane that kind of surrounds the nucleus that holds it intact. Another structure that's found in both plants and animals is the nucleolus. This is found within the nucleus. It's going to be this yellow structure here on the right, and it's just in charge of making ribosomes. That's its core function within the cell. And by function, we mean job. The cytoplasm, again, found in both plants and animal cells, and it's going to be this jelly-like substance that really supports and gives shape to the cell and allows the fluid and, the structures to really stay upright and firm because remember, cells are 3D, they're not flat, so it gives shape to the cell. The mitochondria, remember we talked about the mighty mitochondria. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell and is found in both plants and animals because it breaks down sugar molecules into energy. So remember, plants get sugar from the energy from the sun. That's how they create the sugar. Animals or humans, for example, we get our energy from eating food. But both of us, whether we're a plant or an animal, have to break down sugar in some way, and that's what the mitochondria is for. Another similarity of plants and animals is the vacuole. The vacuole, though, is different in plants and animals in that, as you can see by this picture on the right, there is one large vacuole in the plant cell, and that allows it to really store a lot of water or sugars, and allows it to stay upright. If this vacuole would get, say, depleted in water, the plant's going to look really wilted. And that's why if you have a plant that's really wilted and you water it, it'll eventually stand up straight again because its vacuoles are now full. Another, in terms of animal cells, they're going to be these small little dots. They're going to be a lot smaller, but also contain either water, some food, or even waste of the cells. The endoplasmic reticulum, that's going to be these structures that go back and forth in the cell, and they're, remember, the transportation system of the cell. They send materials to different parts. And the two types are going to be the smooth and rough ER. Remember, smooth does not have any ribosomes, and I wish this picture actually had the dots on it that you could see, but usually there's dots on the rough endoplasmic reticulum. And that are the ribosomes. There's ribosomes attached to it, and ribosomes create proteins. Another way to maybe remember in terms of if you have to identify where they are located in a cell, the rough endoplasmic reticulum technically usually is directly attached to the nucleus compared to the smooth endoplasmic reticulum tends to be a little bit further away from the nucleus of the cell. If that helps you, that's just the way I kind of remember them. Usually there's dots again, and those dots again are ribosomes. The Golgi complex, again, a structure that's found in both plants and animal cells. You're going to notice that there are a lot of similarities between cells compared to differences. This is the post office of the cells. Remember, it's going to take any type of material, wrap it up, and ship it to a different part. And especially proteins. That's its main goal of packaging proteins and shipping them off to where they need to go. So this whole thing could be either the Golgi complex, the Golgi apparatus, there's multiple names, but as long as you say Golgi, if you get that term, we'll know what you're talking about. And lysosomes. So lysosomes are found in both plants and animal cells, but typically they're more common in animal cells, and they're the garbage collector of the cells. And they're there to get rid of any type of waste or like an enzyme by breaking it down with an enzyme. And these enzymes, as you can see, are found within the lysosome, and they're going to travel just throughout the cell. If they find something foreign, they will kind of engulf it and actually use the enzymes within it to break it down and then remove it from the cell. They basically just break it down into smaller pieces, but they're very useful. So, the question, what are two organelles found in plants and animals, and what are their functions? So, use this time here quickly just to type into this box. You're probably going to have to be out of present mode, but just answer the question. Could be the mitochondria, for example. It could be lysosomes that we just talked about, vacuoles, nucleus. It could be any of those. Just state two of them and what their functions are. Next, we're only going to talk about what are some cell structures that are found only in plant cells. So one of these is the cell wall. The cell wall, I know we talked about this quite often, but it's that external hardened membrane or structure that is found within the cell, and it is there just for structure and support, and it provides stability for the plant. Remember, they don't have any bones to hold them up. So if it wasn't for the cell wall, they would be quite close to the ground and not very tall because they wouldn't be able to grow. So think about, say, like a tree. If the tree did not have that structure, it would in no way be able to grow up to, 10 feet tall or more, for sure. Another structure, chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are only found in plant cells because they are able to convert energy from the sun into sugar for the plant. And, humans don't have that ability. It would be great if we did, but we do not. So chloroplasts are very important in terms of providing energy for the plants. And again, the green, because they have chlorophyll in them, and chlorophyll is kind of a pigment that allows, that's green, that allows them to, again, capture some sunlight. So just a quick question, how is the chloroplast of the plant similar to the mitochondria? If you want to just take a couple minutes to write that down, maybe pause the video. If you're stuck though, the way that they're similar is that they both are there to capture, to have energy and break it down into sugar molecules. Remember, the mitochondria is found in both plants and animals, but it is primarily found in the chloroplasts are only found in the plant cells, and so they allow it to be broken down. Lastly, we're just going to do some animal cell structures. There's actually only one that is found in animal cells, and this is something called centrioles. And centrioles are organelles that, again, only found in animals, but are there strictly for reproduction purposes of the cell. So what happens is during the reproductive phase of something called meiosis, or also known as meiosis, you might have heard it that way, these structures, centrioles, are going to create spindle fibers, and they're actually going to attach to chromosomes that you have in your cell, and they're going to create these fibers and then actually pull them apart, and in doing so, it splits the DNA in the chromosomes, and it allows two separate cells to be made. So this is really important, again, for cell reproduction. They're going to create spindles. These spindles are going to split the chromosomes, pull them to opposite sides of the cell, and that's the primary function of centrioles, is to aid in the reproduction of animal cells. Okay, very quickly here, so I have my timing in for my video, so you guys will have to watch too. We're just going to quickly create a Venn diagram. I would prefer you guys would pause this and try this on your own, but all you're going to do is create exit presentation mode, and we're going to drag these terms into the appropriate place. So, for example, cell membrane, remember, is found in both plants and animals, compared to the cell wall is found only in plant cells. Another one, the mitochondria, remember, is actually found in both plants and animals. And you have your lysosomes, also found in both plants and animals. So I know most of these we've talked about, so I'm not going to finish this with you guys because you do have all the notes and the slides to go over this. Make sure though that you finish this and complete it and then submit it on Schoology. Lastly though, before I end this, I just want to remind you again about centrioles. Centrioles are going to be the only difference, the only structure that's found only in animal cells. And again, it's there for reproductive purposes for the animal cells, and it's going to come together, create spindle fibers, and then eventually pull the chromosomes apart so that they're on different sides of the cell, and eventually in a process called meiosis, which we will learn about later on, the cell is actually going to split and it's going to create two different cells. So centrioles are going to be that one difference. So again, don't forget to submit this on Schoology, and then also you're going to complete a cell structure building activity. You're going to build some plants and animal cells, and I think also make a Venn diagram quickly. Nothing too hard, but just so you guys get more practice with this, and we can talk about this more on a different day. So have a great day, scientists, and I will see you soon.